Welcome to Uncaged. Today we're speaking with Alok Gupta. Alok is the founding managing partner and CEO of Loki Group. They're a company very much focused on the world of mergers and acquisitions and private equity and really helping businesses do that right. We'll talk about how you can avoid the pitfalls and how you can make it a success. But before we get there, Alok, tell me a little bit about you and your career.
Yeah, happy to do so and appreciate the time, Bant, today. So myself, over 23 years of business professional experience. During that time, over 20 years has been in consulting advisory roles, working with small, middle, and enterprise companies on their corporate strategy, their mergers, acquisitions, carve-outs, bankruptcy emergence, restructuring or transformations. I led the launch and I was part of the team leading the launch of the largest pan-India telecom network in India. I came back and I was one of the leaders of the eBay PayPal separation, working to make sure that happened on a tax-free perspective. I gained 60 pounds the first 2 months of the project just because of crazy hours. And I was like, you know what, I love what I do and I want to find a way of doing it differently. And that led to the creation of Loki Group in 2017. And now what we focus on is corporate strategy as a service and M&A services for the middle market.
Well, I'm glad that you're finding a healthier way of doing that type of stuff. It's funny how those things work out. I've been on a similar journey as well. But tell me now, so you've been doing this for 7 years. Tell me about the journey of Loki and how it's developed and where you are today.
Yeah, so as any entrepreneur will tell you, that first year, especially when you're starting something from scratch, you got to kind of pay your dues and you got to make your way into it. That first year, people always think like, oh, okay, you're trying this out, that's good, and they want to see how much grit you have in going forward. And then that second, you're like, oh, you're still here, okay. And then they start getting excited to talk to you more, and then things just kept growing, and every year things just kept growing and growing and growing. And COVID actually ended up becoming a tailwind for us and pushing us forward. And I needed to go beyond just myself. And I actually needed to hire a team to kind of help support me and grow with me. And things have been good. It's been busy. With interest rates going up, we saw that there was a change happening in the market, where, as you can imagine, interest rates go up, deal flow tends to slow down a little bit because the cost of doing a deal becomes more expensive. And so hence now there's a mismatch of expectations of sellers of what they think they were valued at and buyers what they're willing to pay. And so part of that then was like, hey, we need to look at doing things differently and how can we continue adding more value to our clients. And that's when we said, let's take a couple steps back and help our clients think about corporate strategy. What is their strategic vision for the next 5 to 10 years? And how do they want to get there and how fast they want to get there? And then we can help them develop the organic projects that are internal, such as cost reduction, revenue growth, or operational efficiencies type projects. How do they want to get there naturally? And then how do they want to get there inorganically? And then structure around that, getting the C-suite and the ownership aligned on what makes a good target, what areas in the industry they want to expand into, and then creating a scorecard that we can then help them utilize in filling the deal pipeline and doing the first review of these companies before they start looking at them. That way they can focus on their business and we can focus on the strategic initiatives inside the business.
So it's such an interesting moment right now, Alok, because we had that whirlwind of deals during COVID. And then, we saw inflation pop up here and PE firms starting to get a little skittish. But at the same time, so much innovation in the marketplace with like AI, so much innovation and need. And then also just like some macro factors, right? I mean, we have an aging population. We have baby boomers that have tons of businesses that they're really at the age to unload, where are we right now? What's the temp on the industry?
Yeah. And I think those are great points. I think the aging population, the baby boomers looking to exit, I think that's creating a lot of the deal flow. Now, there's a balance that's happening though, because I think previously, I know, for example, my wife's grandfather, he had his own business, and then when he came to retirement age, he didn't know there was an option to sell it, so he just closed down his doors, and that was it, right? I think now the space of private equity has become much more well known across everything, across everyone, and people are now thinking about, oh, there's an opportunity that I can actually exit and get my retirement back, right?
Mhm.
And get something to fulfill it. Now, with that though, I think there's a couple of things that need to happen to help these baby boomers and these companies do well in the process. And part of it is, a lot of these baby boomers, it was a lifestyle business. And with that, there's certain things that are being, pushed to the financials because it was their own business. They 100% owned it. If they decided to buy something because they wanted it, they could. But if you think about getting those books ready for a PE buyer or someone else coming in, you got to clean those books up. And it's ideal that to have 3 years of clean books ready to go, because the cleaner your books are when you go talk to a buyer, the more they're willing to pay for it. If you
Mhm.
end up talking to a buyer and you're having to say, hey, I have all these ad backs put in, um, and say, because that's what the real EBITDA or that's what the real earnings are by putting in all these things that are just personal expenses, then they'll give that some value. But then in the back of their mind, they're thinking, well, what else have you passed through this business that is not being captured here? How clean are your books for me to really judge on this? Because they got to take it going forward, and they have to ensure
Yeah.
that they're going to make money off the business after they acquire it. So
Yeah.
those are kind of a couple of things that help someone in this in any company actually get greater value, is having 2 to 3 years of clean financials ready to go,
Yeah.
and stop operating it like a lifestyle business and start operating like a proper business. Build out a management team, especially a PE buyer. When they come in, they're not looking to manage the business. They're looking to have a management team already in place, and that they can invest in it and help grow it by providing either capital or additional incentives or knowledge to help it grow. But they need a management team already in place. So many of these businesses that are baby boomers, that are lifestyle businesses, they need to hire people to take over that leadership and be able to step back so they have a business that they can actually sell.
Yeah. I love that. How are interest rates impacting things?
So interest rates, as interest rates went up, it just slowed down the deal flow because, as you can imagine, the debt service fee got higher, right? So,
Yeah.
what, and the main reason that's a concern or comes into question is when you think about a PE buyer or any buyer coming in, they're looking to how much of the value that I'm putting into the business, because I'm putting debt onto the business itself, how much debt is the business able to sustain without putting it into trouble and without overburdening it. And if more of that cash flow that has been allocated, because if a business is doing $500,000 a month, right, of free cash flow, just making up numbers right now, there's a certain amount of that money that's going to be allocated to paying a debt service fee. So that's principal and interest. If you have a higher interest rate, then that means that certain amount of money, more of it has to be allocated towards interest versus the actual principal. Hence, then that squeezes down on the price that a buyer is looking to
Yeah.
pay.
Well, I mean, there's some big changes, big factors in the marketplace right now. But Alok, I mean, you told that story about your wife's father, and I wonder, it really what kind of fuels your passion for this space? I mean, maybe it's that family story. I don't know, but it's always interesting for us to understand why people do what they do. So what gets you up in the morning every day?
First and foremost, always family, right? Love my wife, love my two kids, and they drive me to achieve as much as I can. Um, but professionally, it's just how my brain works. Since a young age, seeing a business or seeing processes and figuring out how to improve and how to grow it has always just been what makes me tick and what makes me work well. I started actually doing consulting work when I was in high school, working at a local, carpet factory and a fiber factory, and helping them improve their operations. And it was actually the plant manager at that facility. He actually saw me. I was because initially I was there and I was just supposed to be stacking boxes. And I happened to be talking to him about something I saw, an opportunity, and asking him questions. And he's the one who kind of encouraged me, said, hey, I think you have more brain power than we're using you for. And he's the one who taught me about motion time analysis and efficiency reports and spreadsheets. I was a freshman in high school learning about spreadsheets on a program called NCSS 60, which is
Oh, that's awesome.
a long time ago. But that's how my brain works, and that's what I do. Like business is my passion. Business is my hobby.
I love stories like that because it really is those kind of early moments which really can shape your view on what's possible. Right. I mean, for your life and your world. And it's great. He probably is like, Alok's doing an okay job breaking down these boxes, but maybe we need him on spreadsheets.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's great. That's great. Well, Alok, it's an interesting time. We've talked about the market and the state of the economy. And it's hard. I was on a phone call yesterday with a very, very senior person in the media space, and she was trying to get her handle on really kind of what the market looks like for next year for her planning purposes. What are you seeing out there? What are you feeling for late 2023 and 2024?
I think deals are happening. There's a lot of dry powder out there. We keep hearing about that. Dry powder just means there's funds available. People have money allocated to doing deals. But with interest rates going up, people are becoming more selective on their deals they're doing. So even when we look at the last 6 months, the last 12 months, um, deal flow has slowed down by over 50%. However, the average on the deals that are being done are about 10 to 20% higher than previously done happening, right? So what that means to me is like deals are happening. It's just that you got to get your eggs in a basket. I mean, sorry, that's the wrong phrase. You got to get your eggs in a row, right? You got to get everything organized, is what I meant. Because I'd say back when interest rates were really low and it was the boom,
Yeah.
it was everyone had dry powder and money was cheap. And so basically, if you showed a business that seemed reasonable, people would throw money at it.
Yeah.
Now it can't just be any business that's reasonable. It's got to be a business that looks good. It's got a strong management team in place. It's got to have the financials that make sense. It's got to have history. And then for those deals that are all wrapped up and put in a package and ready to go, those are the ones that are getting valued and getting done.
So it looks like when I hear dry powder, there's some opportunity in the near future for businesses. Alok, amazing to hear about you and the Loki Group and what you guys are doing. We've been speaking with Alok Gupta, and he is the founding partner and CEO of the Loki Group. And we've been talking about their work in the M&A space, really advising and consulting with businesses to make sure that any type of investment, any type of merger, any type of sale runs smoothly and actually is something that drives and creates more value going forward. Alok, if someone wanted to learn more about you and the Loki Group, where's the best place to find you?
Yep. Our website is Loki, Loki.group, Group. Just go on there or you can email me. My email is my first name, Alok, Alok, Gupta, Gupta, at LokiEquity.com. That's LokiEquity.com.
Excellent. Well, look, thanks so much for being on Uncaged today, and we look forward to having you back.